Ice and Fire podcast. I am Sir Matt, the Bud Knight.
And I am Sir Ezra the Watchful. Welcome to our Song of Ice and Fire book club. It is time for Raven's Nest.
Yes. Yeah, once again, back with Raven's Nest, where we allow you guys, we invite you to come to sit down. You know, we have like a meal over at the inn at the crossroads, and we'll all just sit around a table, share some mead, share some food, and talk about some theories and the goings on in the world of Ice and Fire.
Absolutely. Yeah. So, Sir Matt, how you been here recently? Been all right?
Yeah, I've been good, man. Yesterday, I want to give a big shout out here to Lady I think it's Adrian and Sir Kyle of House Dillard. They actually hooked me up with a ticket. I think they were going to go. They live in Salem, Oregon, which is about an hour south of Portland.
Yeah.
And they were going to go to Wizarding World, which is a convention this weekend at the convention center, and they hooked me up with one of their tickets because they couldn't go. So I got to go walk around. It was a lot of fun. Got to see a lot of cosplayers, some other people. Jason Momoa was there. Unfortunately, I did not get to see him. Khal Drogo, because the line was incredibly long. There was like the girl that plays Supergirl in the TV show was there. Like almost the entire cast of Buffy the Vampire Slayer was there. So it was cool. Just walking around. I bought there's some guys are selling some Game of Thrones stickers. Got some of those. They're just sigils, but got like House Manderly and House Frey and House Connington and House Dondarrion and stuff like that. So, and the one true king, Stannis Baratheon. Definitely had to get one of those. And so, and House Targaryen, obviously. But so super, super cool. It was a lot of fun. I want to give them a huge thank you for letting me use that ticket because it was a lot of fun.
Right. That's awesome. Yeah, so that's really cool. I'm glad you got to go to that. And we're looking forward to going to more, conventions and things here in the future. So that's awesome. All right. Well, real quickly, I just want to, if it's okay with you, Sir Matt, topics before we have something huge to talk about here, but I'm going to list the topics that we'll be talking, kind of a table of contents here for the whole show. We've got some big Ravens to discuss. We've got questions like, is the Lord of Light real? Little discussion on the prince who is promised and a special individual who may be the prince. We have Lord Varys and his knowledge of Jon's parents. Will Jon ride a dragon? It could be book or show there. Thoughts on the dragon glass, and who buried that there at the Fist of the First Men. So we got some good comments there from Lord Adam Parker and the Forging of Lightbringer. So a lot of good topics to come, but I think we want to start with something that, trumps all of that right now.
Absolutely. Yeah. And that would be the wall coming down in a trailer that we saw an HBO trailer just released. It was earlier today, I guess, and it's another one of these HBO trailers, right, where they show off a lot of the things that they're going to be having come out later this year. We saw some other stuff. I don't know if there was Westworld in there, but there was like Veep and some of the other big shows, the Deadwood movie. And so when I was watching it, I was like, oh, that's just like old footage. Cause I was kind of like, whatever. I was just kind of sifting through it to trying to find the Game of Thrones stuff. And I just saw a dragon and I was like, well, okay, whatever. And so then when I saw the Deadwood footage of the Deadwood movie, which is another show Sir Ezra and I are big fans of, I was like, wow, that's new footage. And so then I went back and I was like, oh my God, there's new Game of Thrones footage here. And it starts with little Game of Thrones. It starts with ravens kind of flying over the wall, just like doesn't look like they're going. They're just kind of flying above the wall, right? My guess is perhaps maybe that's Bran, right? Like looking and seeing what's happening at the wall, like scouting or something. And then we get some footage of Unsullied marching in at least the north. It's certainly cold. It looks like Winterfell. I think it's safe to presume it is Winterfell. And a dragon flying above, and then a shot of Arya, and people around her, and all the people are scared and backing up, and she's just kind of looking at the dragon, like mesmerized.
Right. Yeah, it's pretty interesting. And I think some people were even talking in the Facebook group as to whether or not that footage at the end is new or old. Would it be, kind of like it? You had said originally that you thought it was kind of last season's footage, but the more I look at it,
once I got a second chance to kind of look at it,
yeah.
I realized no, this is not. So
yeah, so that's kind of neat. I mean, just looking at the beginning of this feature and then the end with the wall, some really cool stuff. So, did we want to get just a rundown, get everybody's thoughts on that? Hopefully we'll see. I know Lord Adam Parker and Sir David have looked at it, Sir Peter as well. So we can talk to those guys maybe and see what they think of the new footage.
Yeah, I'm gonna start with Sir Peter here, just because we were talking to him kind of first about this, so I want to give him an opportunity. So, all right, you are live, Sir Peter here. What we were talking about this earlier. Yeah.
Sure. Really interesting footage. Obviously, the new footage of the Ravens that was at Castle Black or over by Eastwatch, which is really interesting. And I'm under the impression, going to the forwarding to the Arya scene, that it is a dragon at the grand because everybody is scared behind her, and Arya is kind of smirking in a way, like very excited. It could be, the dragon coming to help. Who knows? But it's really interesting.
Right. Yeah, is that, and so when you look at that dragon, that's the first little bit where it's flying over, people are kind of, as you said, scared there. Where is that? I mean, I think we originally said we all thought Winterfell. Is that where that's at? Is that what that looks like?
It appears so. When you're looking at the dress of or the clothing of the people around her, they dress similar to the people who are of Winterfell, as you've seen in the previous season. So I'm under the impression that it is Winterfell.
Okay. Yeah, and I think we did, Sir Matt, we kind of thought, right, that this is where, winter will fall. It's the idea that we're getting all these troops up here. But Sir Peter, where, are these the Unsullied, right?
Yeah,
that show up here.
Yeah.
So
definitely.
Where were they in the end of last season? When did we see them last, and where were they? Weren't they over by? Oh gosh, Castle Rock.
They were. It's a little muddy, the timeline, because I would believe they were at Castle Rock, and then in the last episode, they were marching on Greenland.
Okay.
The dragons flying overhead, and then Daenerys ended up arriving, at the dragon pit. But I guess she, as they say, slept to see where, her army and everything. It's kind of unclear where they are, but I'm assuming, because they're probably going to be jumping some timelines here, that they'll have the ships and take everybody and move all their forces forward to Winterfell. Especially that Daenerys said that she's committed to fighting the army of the dead, as compared to trying to secure the Iron Throne.
Right. Okay. Awesome. All right. Cool beans.
Yeah. Let's move on to somebody else here. Like maybe. Let's, who do we want to do here? Let's do Lord Adam Parker. But all right, so I have him live. My thing is, so we know that we have the footage of Sansa talking to Daenerys, right? And so is that Arya footage before or after? Does Sansa show up? Does Daenerys march in with her army and somebody tells Sansa, "Oh, they're here," or is it like we see Daenerys show up and then we see the dragon and the army?
I think that, I don't know. I'm looking at it. I have it on my screen right now. I just paused it where Arya, her face is lit up. And I guess she doesn't look like she just came from battle. Because at first I was thinking maybe this is the Night King coming through on the ice dragon. And everyone's running away. And she's just like, oh, this is pretty sick. Right? Like, do we think that they're going to battle there at Winterfell? She's there. She's going to see, some sort of army of the dead, I think. So that's what I was thinking it was.
Gotcha.
But it could be, maybe they do march in, and maybe it's the dragons overhead, and it's Daenerys coming right in. The very opening scene. Again, I think a lot of these shots that we're seeing is all the first 5-10 minutes. I don't think. Like, I don't like. I was watching a trailer for something, or what was it? It's like an end game trailer.
Mm-hmm.
And, they mix it up a little from the beginning of the movie, a little bit from the end of the movie. But I can't see HBO doing this. I think that they don't want to give anything away. I think all the scenes that they're ever going to show is spoiler free, first 10 minutes of the whole season.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I agree with you guys. Probably Daenerys coming in with her dragons. She's the maid, and everyone's running away. I'm just watching it a few times in a row here.
Yeah.
On that.
Yeah, it's definitely cool. You can definitely see. I mean, like I just kind of like the shot, the Arya shot, and like everyone is like totally freaked out, and then you have Arya there, kind of like just looking at it like she's like like happy or excited.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and she's not actually looking up as much as you would think she is. But in this pause that I got an older gentleman behind her who kind of looks like the Manderley guy. He's like looking really up. So I think they're just coming in for a landing, maybe. And I think I think Daenerys is going to come in and they're just going to be like, oh, like these dragons are coming. They're going to take over. And then it ends up being friendly. And Arya's, amazed. Maybe she sees Jon.
Yeah, maybe that. I was thinking that too. Yeah, maybe she sees
Jon's riding one of the dragons.
Yeah, maybe she sees Jon Snow, and that's like the look on her face of excitement.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. Yeah. Huh.
Yeah. Or could you imagine if Arya doesn't see Jon Snow the entire, and one of them dies?
Oh, yeah.
I was thinking about that today. I'm like, what could HBO do? Are they going to give us the fan service we desperately want? Or they're just going to be like, no, you guys can't have nice things.
Well,
I hope not. I hope not.
Red Wedding season 1 or episode 1 of season 8. Like, oh my god.
Yeah. Then it's just Cersei battling King the rest of the 5 episodes.
Oh my god.
She's like, I'm underprepared for this. Golden Army comes in.
Oh my god.
That'd be nuts.
All right, let's grab somebody else here. I'm going to grab.
Yep.
Let's grab Sir David the Huntsman. Thoughts on the trailer here. So, all right, Sir David, you are live.
What's up, boys?
Hey.
So yeah, I mean the as always, you always get these little tiny snippets.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things that I started thinking about, you remember, it's actually been quite some time ago where we all sat down and did a sort of a group think about where all this was all going to come to a head.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I remember Sir Ezra very vividly was like, oh, it's on the Trident.
Yeah.
And I was just thinking about everything in the North.
Yeah.
So first and foremost, remind me again, how many episodes are you getting? 6?
Yeah.
Okay. So first thing I was thinking, how quickly are we going to run through this whole Night King stuff?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Second, where are they going to meet? Because now you have that shot of the Unsullied with the dragon above them and looks all wintry and so forth. So do you think it's going to end pretty quick? Are they going to fight north? Are they even going to come down to the south?
Huh. You mean, are they even? Yeah.
So is it going to be one? Is it going to be one like epic battle with like the Night King, and then it's going to be like 2 battles, right? Like one battle with the Night King and then one battle with Cersei, or is it the other way around? Or is it going to just be one epic battle that like everyone's involved in? Yeah. Is Cersei even going to be involved?
Well, I mean, I definitely think she's going to be involved at some point, but
I mean, with the battle with the Night King, yeah.
Oh, I got you. Yeah, with that, I don't know. I don't think so, personally. Yeah. But I mean, it could go anyway. I mean, I think we've all been surprised in the past. So
right.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But it was an interesting shot, and Lord Adam Parker kind of said something else that I thought went with the little Arya shot there. Yeah. I just instantly thought Jon riding in on a dragon.
Right.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I think if Jon rides in on a dragon, then I think that we're going to get a lot more of them on like the boat, right? Because then like I think that would be kind of cool if we get like Jon and Daenerys as they're riding up, and maybe Jon saying like, "This is how we need to enter Winterfell," like because this is my land, all this stuff, and then
Right.
maybe we get some of that, like, you know, a little bit of like kind of a love story stuff, and it's like he rides a dragon, like, you know, or tries to ride a dragon while they're on the boat. You know what I mean? So you would have to have something, because if he just shows up riding a dragon, because then that means that all that the stuff of them entering Winterfell would be the end of episode 1. Maybe not the beginning of episode 1, which would be cool, because then it's like, then I don't know what the heck episode 1 else is about. I mean, Jaime riding north, you know, so.
True.
Yeah. Can I hop in here real quick and just say that, like, I think, you know, I'm worried about how when Jon comes back to basically say that he's bent the knee, I'm worried about how the North is going to take that. And if I were him, I think I might come in on a dragon and really, you know, show them that, like, hey guys, like, you know, we got a couple dragons here. I was saved, you know, by Daenerys. You know, I don't know. It might be easier to do all that all at once versus come back without them, you know, and explain everything. Because without the dragons there and Daenerys and everything, he might get a lot of, you know, a lot of lip from the northern, you know, lords there. So
that's possible, unless they're coming in as you know, king and queen.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. But I think
which I hope they are.
Yeah, but to me the only thing is that would all be cool, but then you run the risk of ruining that kind of brand surprise, that like, oh hey, by the way, you're a Targaryen. You don't really know it, but you're a Targaryen. And I think it would be cool if Bran told him, and then you have him. I mean, at the end of the day, I hope I'm fairly certain we're going to see Jon ride a dragon at some point. But I think it would be cool if it was because he then finds out he's a Targaryen. If he's just he rides a dragon to do it. Now that I'm thinking about it, it might, you know, I think it would kind of ruin that, oh, you're a Targaryen surprise.
Yeah, I was thinking, unless maybe he was riding with Daenerys. Do you think, like, when you see the Arya shot, do you think it's Jon by himself?
Are you telling me that Jon Snow is riding bitch? Because let's not get ahead of ourselves here. Okay.
He's a progressive gentleman.
Yeah. Okay.
There you go.
Okay,
thank you, David. That's
okay.
That's funny. Can we get one more person in here and just maybe talk about that beginning and ending shot? You know, with the wall. Whether that's new footage.
All right, yeah. Who else do we want to get in here? Seagrin,
not new footage.
Seagrin. I think
Josephine. Yeah.
Josephine, Lady Joe. Let's get her in here. Boom. All right, you are.
Hello.
Live. Hey.
Cool. I noticed the opening shot is definitely of the wall with the ravens flying over it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure if that's new footage or not.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And from what I can gather from that end shot right there at the end of the trailer, it looks like that's old shots from like right before the Night King broke through the wall.
Mm-hmm.
Because in the span of about 3 seconds, you have a bunch of flashes. You have the Night King looking like he's ready to throw that spear that took out Viserion.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have a shot of Tormund Giantsbane looking, oh shit, this is getting real and everything. And then you have the wall collapsing. So it's hard to tell. I'm of the opinion that at least that ending shot is more of old footage that they're just trying to gain hype for what's coming.
And build keep the trailer a little bit longer. Yeah.
I haven't seen that the wall coming down in a long time, and it looks like it's a different angle to me. But maybe it is. Maybe it is though. Old footage. I honestly can't remember it. And I wish we would have had time to watch that beforehand. I'm even looking at the dragon that's riding over there and trying to see if there's anybody on its back. You know, there's a one shot here where it looks like it's just super hard to see.
Right.
That is definitely Drogon with Daenerys clinging to his back.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow. Okay, then maybe then it would be some of that. Maybe as the dragon was flying away at the end, you know, he's got the spear there, ready, trying to get another shot in at this dragon.
Mm-hmm.
Huh. Wow, it's something else. Oh, I see. There's a good shot. Yeah, at like 1:35, at least in the link that we put in there for everybody, where you can really see the dragon a lot better.
Mm-hmm.
Huh. Okay.
Cool.
All right. That's awesome.
All right.
Let's see. Do we want to go to Lady Liz maybe and see if she has any just thoughts real quickly on the
Yeah. Lady Liz here. Is this this top one here at the top?
Now she might be at work, so
she said
I'm
she's
not
at
sure.
work, and we're gonna unmute her here. See, maybe she said, she's got herself muted here. So
okay, all right, no worries.
She said she's
that's
gonna be
fine.
in and out at work, which is fine. So
well, we'll look for some comments from her later then.
Yeah. All right. Well, yes. Okay. One thing I wanted to talk about real quick here before we jump into some of the Ravens is kind of a follow up. Something I noticed as I'm going through my rewatch here. Last week in the chapter, we were talking about Syrio Forel and Arya, right?
Yeah.
And we were talking about Syrio Forel. This is when he kind of runs away, and not Syrio Forel, but he fights Meryn Trant, and Arya runs away. And Sir Ezra and I were talking about. The possibility of Syrio beating Meryn Trant. And whether you're a fan of the is Syrio Jaqen theory, I think you could also just start with is Syrio dead theory. Is Syrio alive? And something I noticed when I was watching season 3, episode 1 of Game of Thrones, this is after the Battle of Blackwater, and Tyrion is in his new room, right? Remember, his Tywin has come in. He is now the hand of the king, and Tyrion's had moved to this bottom room here. And he tells a few people throughout the episode come in to visit him as he's kind of healing. You see Varys, and I believe he tells Varys, "Hey, go get Bronn for me. He's my protection." And then we see Shay come in. He talked to her a little bit, and then Cersei comes in, and then you get like a scene of what's going on out in the hallway, and it's Bronn is walking up to Tyrion's room, and Meryn Trant's there with 2 other gold cloaks, I think. And Meryn Trant's like, stay away, like you're not getting in there. It's because Cersei's in there, but Bronn doesn't know that. And so Bronn walks up to all 3 of these guys, and they have a shot of his back, and he's got his hand on like a dagger, and he's just gonna walk up like, no problem, yeah, I'll take you on. Like, I don't care. Like, no problem. Like, not scared of him at all. And then Cersei walks out, and so he's, he moves his hand aside because he realizes kind of what's going on. But so to me, there's another thing where even Bronn is not worried about fighting Meryn Trant or these other 2 guys, like all three guys at once, let alone Syrio Forel with his wooden sword or not, is clearly is quick enough to be able to dodge Sir Meryn Trant's stuff, pick up a real sword if he had to. So I think that is definitely, there's definitely some more validity to it. Just because that maybe just be a show nod, right, of it building Bronn as a character. But sometimes, again, we get these scenes in the show because the books are all POV that I think are kind of cool and help kind of build the characters. And it may be something that the showrunners did to kind of flesh out stuff that they talked with Gur about or whatever. Yeah, any boy horror with a sword could be 3 Meryn Trant. So I guess my question is that another Sir Ezra, to you, does that add any validity to the idea of Syrio being alive?
Yeah, and actually, yeah, it does. So 2 things. What you saw there in the show, and then actually what happens later today, we're going to record the Sansa chapter, and you encounter a lot more of the White Cloaks and the Kingsguard, and it mentions a couple different times one of them having a dead face. And it mentions their face and just the way they look. And I thought, wow, there's something there. Maybe we just don't know what happened at the end there with Syrio. Did other guards show up? Did he take somebody out? Did he take on somebody else's, face, appearance, or what have you? But yeah, I totally think that, when you're talking about Bronn walking up to 3 of these, as you said, Kingsguard, and not being afraid of them, ought to show you something. I don't think he would do that to Sir Barristan Selmy and a Jaime Lannister in his prime. Just to get in to see his dwarf friend who's backing him, who's got the gold, who he's sticking close to so he can get a lordship and a title and all sorts of things. But yeah, I totally think he was ready to jab that dagger right into his throat and just take those other 2 guys out and not bat an eye. So that's also Bronn, who is, I think, under valued and is definitely very skilled.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
All right. Do we want to talk about that one a little bit, or do you just want to go ahead and move on to the?
Oh yeah. So just real quickly, I just wanted to say, just a shout out to Sir Brunos the Broad of the city of Broad Shoulders. The book is mightier than the home box office there. That's just hilarious. So he just was giving us a quick shout out here. If you're in the doc, you can read the whole thing, just sort of talking about how he found the show a couple months ago and really enjoying it, and kind of compared us to some of the other podcasts out there. And I really liked his comparison, just that a lot of folks are your AP course, for Song of Ice and Fire. And I feel like Sir Matt and I have just taken the approach of trying to, we like to wade. We're a bunch of hedge knights. We've never said that we're, maesters. And so we like to wade through this with you guys together, learn from each other, and really, create that community. And so that's why Raven's Nest to me is so cool, because we're bringing on folks here who actually have done their homework and who have, looked into the text, looked into the show, and have thoughts on these topics we're going to discuss today. So just a quick little shout out to him and, for pointing that out, and it kind of fit in with the theme of Raven's Nest. So yeah, that's all we needed to do there. So
awesome. All right.
Yeah.
Well, let's go over to our first kind of big raven here. Is the Lord of Light real? Who sent us this one? Maglum. The Westward Warlock. Yeah. Your local warlocks bids you a fond greetings, my lords, Matt and Ezra. I heard that you were in need of ravens at your holdfast, and so I decided to send one in. I send this question, divinity. Many assume and speak of the Lord of Light, the god of the Red Priest, as if his existence were a definite thing, but I ask why. Oh, indeed, some priests may perform great magic in his name, like Melisandre's Shadow's baby, but that trick, I believe, is one she may have learned in a Shai as a shadow binder. I mean, she is literally binding a shadow. Glamours, well, those are used by other sorcerers, even when magic was in its weakest. Brendan Rivers was also able to successfully glamour himself in the Mystery Knight. Is raising the dead the will of the Lord of Light, or simply another form of sorcery? The others can effectively raise the dead as well. That's a very, very, very good point that a lot of people don't talk about. That's a very, very good point. Yeah. And despite what Crasser may say, I doubt they are true gods. Seeing the future in fire is hardly a uniquely special power either. Valyrians with their dragon dreams, the Green Seers, even us warlocks are all able to glimpse what is to be in different ways. What I'm trying to say is that despite all this magic, there's no definite proof that the Lord of Light is real. I believe that R'hllor may simply be a personification of magic, especially that born from the dragons, that is beloved to be a divine entity by certain peoples. Then again, what god is there truly definitive proof for? I suppose it's all just a matter of faith in the end. Truth cuts deepest. Maglum, the Westward Warlock. P.S. Finally caught up with the podcast. You guys are still awesome. Loving it so much. Even if my voice did sound really weird on Raven's Nest. Oh, no.
That's awesome.
Don't think so up there, but
sounded good.
Yeah. So, all right. Who wants to raise their hand and help us tag this one? If you guys leave a comment. And then
I think Lord Adam Parker has some thoughts here, and I have something.
I'm gonna unmute him here. So awesome.
Yeah, I wanted to say that I think raising people from the dead is much more than a parlor trick. Thoros of Myr, who doesn't believe in any of the Red Priest training, was able to raise Beric Dondarrion from the dead. And he mentioned before that he's tried it a few other times, but with Beric was the first time that he came back. Also, I think in the books, Jon Snow is going to come back from the dead as well. And, it's having someone die, John in the show at least was dead for a while and then coming back is much more powerful than magic or an illusion. You can't trick somebody because you're there. So I think that the god of death is having a little bit more power. The Night's King might be acting on his behalf. So I think that the Lord of Light is starting to bring a more active role and to keep the balance, from dark and light. I believe that there's two gods,
right.
Yeah.
Well, Lord Adam Parker, would you say too that because when I was reading that, I was thinking to myself, okay, so the others, the point that Maglum was making is that the others had the ability to raise the dead, but I think it's, as you're saying, they have that ability through, let's say, the great other or what have you. Their god is using, giving them that power, that ability, and then also, R'hllor would then be kind of increasing his priests, I guess, the Red Priest, giving them more powers. As you say, Thoros at one point has tried it, didn't work back in the day, but now there's a need for it or something,
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that the others have the power, that power to raise someone from the dead, and obviously you can see it in both sides. They're zombies; they're being raised from the dead still, and then, and then the good guys are being brought back to life.
Yeah, and I never thought about this, but like, I guess when you look at like that, the way we look at the R'hllor and gosh, the more I've learned about it, and the great other being the opposite,
right?
They both have the ability to raise the dead. I'm thinking of other faiths, the Seven and other gods or deities, and do they have that ability, or is that a part of their or a staple in their faith? I don't know.
I think
the the drowned god is like that. What's dead may never die, and we see Sir Duncan, who's drowned, be brought back to life.
Yeah, yeah. That's interesting. Yeah, that what's dead may never die. They're bringing them back to life. Yeah,
I think the only true gods are the R'hllor and the god of death, the great other.
Mm-hmm.
Even though I myself am a believer in the old gods,
mm-hmm.
we don't see their power, and I think that any of the power that we do see can be contributed to. Maybe that's the Lord of Light, and they're just interpreting it through the werewoods. That could be just more magic. I don't think that's power. Same thing with the drowned god. I don't think that one exists. The light, the Seven, I think that one doesn't exist either. We don't see any special powers from them. The only tangible thing that we see is from the Lord of Light or the the others. And then I think reading a situation through the flames is also maybe him talking, because other people can do it. If it's just something that Melisandre could do, sure, that's a parlor trick, and you have me on that one. But the fact that in the show, at least, the fact that the Hound sees something in the flames, I think is a huge is proof to show, like, okay, this is real. It's not just some lady making it up.
Right. Well, and also, was it more show that where Varys kind of talks about hearing something or seeing something in the flames? Isn't he confronted by what is her name? The other Red Priestess.
God. Yeah, I can't remember her name, but yeah, he is.
Yeah, he's confronted by her in the show, and kind of talks about what maybe he saw in the flames. When he's when his balls were taken. So
he's castrated. Yeah. So.
Huh. Okay. Good points.
Yeah,
I like that. I like that a lot.
Cool. All right. Let's grab. If Lady Jo is ready, I'm going to grab her for this. So you're live.
Okay. I don't have as much thought as far as whether the Lord of Light exists or not. The one thing I find interesting is we don't actually know in the books whether or not Jon has actually died.
That's true. Yeah.
Because the last chapter you see with him, he's basically just passing off into darkness, and there's nothing more from him at the end of the last book.
Yeah.
So it's hard to say one way or the other. The fact that Melisandre did bring him back in the TV show after he clearly died, is definitely more than a parlor trick, in my opinion.
Yeah, because we still have some proof with like Lady Stoneheart and Beric Dondarrion, but it's not
where they've suffered such grievous wounds that you definitely can tell they died.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good point. I want to read something here. We'll keep her on, and I just want to get your opinion on this. So, a Bannerman has no name, wasn't able to join us today, but has some comments and thoughts here. So I'll read this real quick. Just concerning the Lord of Light, this deity is no more or less real than any other deity/deities in the story. Each is as real as the person in question believes they are. He goes on to say that the original magicians that discovered and honed the skills that the Red Priest use needed a way to add the perception of strength and justification to their powers and lure followers to learn and spread the word. The Lord of Light was created to do this, just like the original Faceless Men created the Many-Faced God to justify their killing and add mystery and fear to their secret society. If believing in any of these deities works for the person in question, then they are effectively real. The same can be said for the old gods, the seven and so forth, but not truly exist any more than the others. I just thought that was interesting. It's sort of like it is what you make it kind of thing. It's
right.
if you believe in it, or if you're, gosh, I don't know, if you're trying to justify something that you're doing, like you're this assassins, society, whatever, trying to create a god out of that. Just I wanted to get thoughts on that, I guess. In
my opinion, in regards to that part, is the belief a person has in a particular deity or pantheon of deities gives that pantheon power. So believing in Rhaelor and him giving you power, that basically you thinking he has power to begin with feeds his power to help you in the first place.
Yeah, doesn't Tyrion at one point make the comment about the priest and the swordsman and the rich man or whatever, and talking about wherever you believe the power is when you're asking,
the power lies.
Yeah, kind of thing.
Well, we see it like it's like what we see with Ned Stark, right? Where Cersei's like, you think a piece of paper is going to protect you, and like, here's our new king right here, and so they're already ready to protect Joffrey, even though that's the words of Robert Baratheon. Well, Robert Baratheon is dead now, so it doesn't really matter. So even among men, that holds true.
Yep.
Yeah, it's interesting. Yeah, it's like even the belief in the system of like when you look at like when you're choosing a new king. So when we look at Fire and Blood and whether they have great councils to decide whether it should go to one of the female, the eldest female daughter, or should it go to the firstborn son, all that kind of stuff. So it's
Well, yeah, I mean that's why,
a lot of that.
That's why Maegor the Cruel becomes king, even though he had no right to be. Well, too bad, taking it. Try and stop me. So
yeah, okay.
So
interesting.
All right, here. Okay, cool. All right, do we want to move on to our next one here? Do we want to grab somebody else, or Ezra?
Yeah, let's see if anybody wants to jump in, like Sir Peter or whatever. Even if we start to read the next one, you want to jump in and make a comment there, that's fine as we transition. So we'll hop into the Prince Who Was Promised. I kind of put these side by side here. So
no, that's perfect. Go right ahead.
Okay. Who this is from? I'll read this one. This is from Lady Shannon from Ontario, Canada, right? She says winter is here up there, I'm guessing. So happy Sunday, good sirs. Just stumbled upon the following theory about who Azor Ahai really is. And the statement is made that right out the gate, she says, Samwell Tarly is the prince who was promised. And I said, what? Instead of Jon or Dany being Azor Ahai, Samwell Tarly, of all people, could be the prince who was promised. The crux of the story the theory suggests that Sam isn't actually a Tarly, but a Targaryen instead. Born Aegon Targaryen, Sam was the son of Rhaegar Targaryen and Elia Martell, believed by most to have been killed by the Mountain as a baby. However, some believe that Aegon was actually smuggled out of the city by Varys before it was sacked, and sent to be raised by the Tarlys, a loyal family. In the books, it's young Griff who claims to be Aegon, smuggled out of the city and raised far from home, but young Griff doesn't appear in the series. I think that means TV series, Sir Matt, I think.
Yep.
Okay. The original plan was for Varys to raise Sam / Aegon to the throne, but when this didn't happen, Lord Tarly sent Sam to the Night's Watch, not from shame, but because Sam is not his son and he wanted his actual firstborn to inherit. If this is true, Sam has the same Targaryen blood in connection to Dragonstone, salt and smoke that Daenerys does. He may not have woken any literal dragons, but his knowledge of Jon's true parentage may wake Jon as a dragon by revealing to Jon that he's a Targaryen. That's interesting. In addition to the more straightforward prophecy elements, there have been some other hints throughout the series that there is more to Sam than first meets the eye. He's the first in the show to kill a White Walker and has survived. Yeah, Sam the Slayer, and has survived more encounters with them than many others. He has grown increasingly strong, capable, knowledgeable, and despite his size and treatment from the other brothers of the Night's Watch, has proven himself to be a capable warrior, if not particularly gifted one. Wow. And now he has a steel sword, one of few left in Westeros. He has yet to make a sacrifice or light that sword on fire, but given his love for Gilly, it's very possible that he will have to sacrifice her. That will be the final puzzle piece that gives him his magic sword and allows him to drive back the White Walkers. I am loving this visual right now, by the way. Admittedly, Samwell Tarly being Azor Ahai is a bit far-fetched, but that doesn't mean it's without merit. Martin certainly has a thing for the underdog in the same way that he has raised the abandoned Princess Daenerys, the illegitimate son of son Jon, and the outcast dwarf Tyrion to become the leaders of Game of Thrones, making the bullied Sam a secret hero who would be a beautiful fit as well, showing that chubby nerds could be the one to save the day is an appealing twist among stories of strong and stunningly gorgeous warriors, and it would certainly be more satisfying than seeing someone like the Hound be revealed as Azor Ahai. Oh my gosh, that just upset Sir Matt like you wouldn't believe. Wow. First, Sir Matt, can I get your thoughts on that?
Well, I would be fine with it as the idea of Sam being again, like I've said, I think I would like it more if it was somebody that was not like if it wasn't Jon or Daenerys, right? If it was one of these other people, like Jaime or the Hound or even Jorah Mormont or Sam. I think it could be kind of cool. I don't think that Sam is Azor Ahai. I think it.
Come on.
I like it. Don't get me wrong. I like it. I don't think he is. I like it. To me, I think Sam is going to have some epic moment though. To me, Sam is kind of like he's kind of like Neville Longbottom.
I knew you were going to say that.
To me, he's like Neville Longbottom to Jon Snow being Harry Potter, like the chosen one, right? Where he's going to have some epic moment, right? Where he just, like Neville does in the last Harry Potter book, where he just comes in and kills Nagini with the sword. But I think Sam, to me, I don't see Sam dying. I see him, like a lot of people finishing with him writing it. I think that'd be super cool. So that's kind of where I'm at on it. But I would be fine with it if Sam was. I can at this point, you can make an argument for just about anybody being Azor Ahai, and I think that this definitely has some validity to the argument. But yeah.
Cool. All right. Thanks, let's. You want to get maybe Sir Peter's thoughts maybe on this?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm going to unmute him here. He's typing. Let's make sure he's ready to go here.
There, he's ready to go.
Awesome.
All right,
you're live.
All right, awesome. As far as Sam being the princess promise,
yeah,
I think that's I think it's a far fetch. I think he is a Tarly. I don't see any other evidence that would point to the contrary. However, I think he will be a huge beacon of knowledge going forward. And that, in the show, it's showing that he's instrumental in helping against the fight against that. He may be like a maester or an archmaester in the future in the books. I think I could see that happening. I just don't agree with him being the Prince of the Silence because it just wouldn't make sense, honestly, to switch. Okay, if you're going to switch Aegon at birth and then raise him with the Tarleys, instead of sending instead of sending Aegon out with John Connington or John Con, who was, Rhaegar's most trusted compadre, as they say. It just doesn't fit well with me. I mean, if he does end up becoming a Princess Promise, okay, that'd be a curveball. That would, everybody'd be like, "Huh, where's it coming from?" But I just don't. I don't see it. I don't see it. I don't see it. I mean, I think. I mean, honestly, I think even though there's a lot of stipulation about young Griff, I actually think he's Aegon. Whether he lives going forward, that's a different question. But I just don't see Samwell being the child of Rhaegar in.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah, I mean, to go off your point, it would also be a lot, even at this point in the books. I feel like to kind of to turn it kind of around and make Sam Azor Ahai. To me, it just would be there. I mean, if that's the case, then that's why Wins has taken so long.
Yeah, no kidding. Another point too, I like what Sir Peter's saying though, just the idea that he could be. What makes him awesome is that he has this knowledge.
Oh, absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely, yeah.
Knowledge is power. He's who we would turn to figure out how do you defeat this individual. I know Bran is also going to be a big deal as well, but boy, I love the idea of Sam playing a huge role. And I'd also have to say, look at if he's Aegon Targaryen. I mean, wouldn't he be a little bit more Dornish or Targaryen looking, and just his hair color and stuff. I mean, he's got the jet black, kind of hair there, I think is how he's described.
Right.
Dark hair, pale eyes is how he's described on the wiki. So I don't know.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, let's grab somebody else here. I'm thinking maybe Sir David the Huntsman here.
Yeah. Yep.
All right, Sir David, you're live on this one.
Oh, well, I love the thought of it. I think it's a neat thought, but it's just not really. It wouldn't have been my line of thought, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know that I have a theory behind who that would be, like in general, because I mean, to be honest, I it's one of those things that's always went by the wayside for me.
Yeah.
But if I were thinking about it, just honestly from a show standpoint, because I love the show. I love the books, but I love the show.
Right.
And the show has taught me to love one character above many, and that's the Hound.
Wow.
And I just kind of want to, I don't know. I just kind of want it to be the beat up brute.
Yeah.
Troubled childhood. Just, I think it'd be neat. It would give him more of an actual purpose than just being sort of, again, the beaten down brute killer guy.
Right. Well, and that's also his history with fire, right? Like like the whole fact that he was burned by fire. If he had to say use fire to save like the world, he's also someone who like hates. He just kind of wants to do his own thing. I think that would be that would be interesting.
Right. Yeah, well, Sir David, I have to ask you. I mean, so the idea of Samwell Tarly wielding, could you see him wielding a flaming sword? I mean, would that not just make your day? I mean,
well, no, don't get me wrong, it would be awesome. And before Matt said it, I instantly kind of popped that sort of Neville Longbottom thing.
Yeah,
just like if he just in the battle just somehow picks up or his sword catches on fire. I don't know how it happens. Lightning bolt comes down, strikes it, pops into flame, whatever. Right. And he just sort of goes running through like Thoros and Mira and Pike. Like he finally finds his courage type of deal.
Yeah.
I think that'd be pretty epic, but we'll see. Yeah. We'll see how that goes.
Right. Yeah. Oh, goodness. All right, that's cool. Yeah, so I don't know. There's a lot of different candidates out there for the prince that was promised, and you look at that versus Azor Ahai, the mixing of the two. I was just looking at where that prophecy, the prince that was promised, originated from. So according to Melisandre, it's the prince was prophesied 5,000 years ago. So an Azor Ahai interchangeably tends to be used as the name for far more often. So I don't know. I've always it's so muddled, as to who. There's so many options. I feel like,
Yeah, like Loretta Parker here wrote in the doc, the Night's King is Azor Ahai. Yeah,
yeah.
That's another big one too, right? The idea that he was he is / was Azor Ahai.
The first,
and it's kind of, maybe it's like a rotating kind of a thing, right? Like,
yeah, very interesting. So, all right, I think that one's pretty much, we're gonna get the same sort of responses on that. And here's the thing. Lady Shannon does say that it is far fetched, but it's just kind of a fun thought, I think.
Well, I mean, there's validity to it. I mean, it's not like there's not, there's definitely validity to it. So, all right, this is actually a really good one here. Well, a lot of people have kind of commented on this one here. I'm going to read it. This is one I don't think we've talked about a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Does Lord Varys know who John's parents are? Good evening, my lords. Who sent this to us? This is Silius, the Hedge Knight, most likely. When I catch up, when I was still working on a name and stuff like that. Okay, perfect. My name is Silius from the lands of Wisconsin. Whew, cold there. That's the land of cheese and snow. Let me begin by saying I am fairly new to your podcast and I am ages behind. I also haven't liked the Facebook page or listened ahead because I want to avoid spoilers from your podcast. That's totally fine. However, I am plowing through them while I am at work, and you are the first podcast I've ever listened to and love it. Well, thank you. When you listen to this in like 3 months. As I said before, I am behind on the podcast. Perhaps someone has already asked this question, and if that is the case, forgive my lack of knowledge. Again, we've talked about that before too. You can ask the same question all the time. We talk about who's Azor Ahai about once a week. So.
We do.
And I never get tired of it. So,
Right.
My question for you two is this. Do you think Lord Varys knows of Jon's birth? Once the idea popped in my head, I find it hard to believe that he didn't know about the marriage between Rhaegar and Lyanna at the end of the birth of Jon. Seeing as he seems to have some sort of plan for the good of the realm, who do you think he has, or why do you think he has not mentioned this information, assuming he knows it? Right now, I'm at the point of your podcast where you're getting through the story from the great people of your podcast and how they got into Game of Thrones. If you are still doing that, I'll gladly send you mine. But seeing as this Raven is already absolutely, yeah, we'll take those all the time. Thank you for your time, Silius. And then we have some comments here for some people. Maglin the Mage. Interesting. I admit I have considered this myself and would have to say I have a hard time believing he wouldn't know. There always seemed to be some leak in a plot, and Varys is good at finding them. Someone has to see Lyanna pregnant and let Varys know. After that, I'm confident he could have put together the timeline, much like the fans did. What I wonder about is, if he does know, what does he plan to do with the information? And Lord Parker commented here, and we'll bring him on here because we can talk about that comment. But a bannerman has no name, as we said, isn't able to join us today. Said, Lord Varys and Jon Snow, yes, I believe he knows the truth, whatever the honest truth is. Varys has the network to know it now. Never doubted the knowledge of Lord Varys. He is a member of the Braavosi Mafia, with the faceless man in the Iron Bank and others. Yeah, and one of the things I want to talk about here real quick on that is, I think Varys does know. Just because I think Varys is as a spy network. But I guess my question is, he takes, let's say that Aegon young Griff is Aegon. Is it the Varys? Maybe he knows, but he doesn't know really what happened with Jon Snow. Maybe he just thinks maybe he thinks she died in childbirth. Maybe he doesn't know all the details, because it seems like not a lot of details got out. Of it. We just, that's why, Ned Stark has Ned Stark with the lie of another thing. So maybe he doesn't know, right? Maybe Varys knows they got together, but doesn't know that Jon Snow is his things, and maybe he'll put the two together later on. I think that's certainly a possibility. If he does legitimately know that Jon is Rhaegar and Lyanna's thing, maybe he would have moved sooner, or maybe he just kind of sits back and wait. Maybe he says, well, we've got young Griff here. That would be a harder one to prove. You never know. So it's a great question, and it raises a lot of possibilities and questions and things now that I have to kind of wrap my head around it. So so I'm gonna bring on that Lord Adam Parker here, just because he wrote a big comment in the text. So I want to give him a chance to talk about that. So you're live.
Yep.
Well, now I want to change mine because because very good point. You know, I originally was thinking, you know, it seems likely that Varys would know about Rhaegar and Lyanna's secret marriage.
Yeah.
He is the Lord of Whispers after all. Right. It would actually kind of seem far-fetched that Varys, you know, knows everyone's secrets and was on the king's court, but didn't know about the prince. That would seem more unlikely that he wouldn't know about Prince Rhaegar's dealings. So I think that he knew about the marriage. He knew about the affair. Trying to think of who brought the who was in there at the time of the quote unquote kidnapping was Arthur Dayne, and so I think that people who know that Lyanna was pregnant would be, you know, Arthur Dayne, Varys, of course, and then it kind of poses the question that you just mentioned of he knows Lyanna was pregnant, but maybe he doesn't know who the baby is, where the baby is, because that postpartum became a secret. You know, Jon Snow is a made-up name, right? So he probably doesn't know that. But then I think Ned, Howland Reed, Benjen, and then of course the three-eyed crow or the three-eyed raven also knows Jon's parentage.
Yeah, that's interesting. Here's my question for you, Lord Adam Parker. Where, like, I'm thinking to myself when I first read this, where would like when Rhaegar takes her, they get together, and like, does he take her straight to the Tower of Joy, or does he go somewhere else? Like, when would Varys? I mean, obviously the kingdom knows that she's been taken by Rhaegar, enough to the point where she's like, they go, you know, to confront the Mad King. But I just wonder, you know, if at what point would he have maybe seen her? Would Varys have had access, you know, to her? You know,
right? Well, who was the maester that annulled the marriage, and where did they get married?
Yeah. That's a great.
Where's the Tower of Joy? And like, didn't Rhaegar build the tower just for Lyanna or something? Or like, you know, she's a fairly important person, and like he's not going to just secretly marry her and bring her to some tower for her to be by herself and alone.
Right.
I think the Tower of Joy is more of a you know, place type of thing. But you know, we do have 9 months of them traveling around, probably in Dorne, I'm assuming. Right? Or like where?
Yeah. Red Mountains of Dorne. Yeah.
So I think Varys had to have known in that area. I wish there would be. Maybe we'll get it towards the end of the series of a more of a timeline, because I've certainly worked on it. I don't have it in front of me. I tried to come up with a timeline of when exactly is this, because you know, someone brought up the point of, is Jon really Ned and Ashara's baby? But Jon was born like 3 years or 4 years after the tournament at Harrenhal. And, and then he went off for war. I think Lyanna was, the battle took, the rebellion, I guess, took a couple years too. So I think he went off for war, and I don't even think she was pregnant yet at that point in time. Again, I'll have to look at more of my detailed timeline on it, but to answer this question, you know, Rhaegar and Lyanna were definitely running around. Varys definitely, his spy network knows that they're running around. Maybe he knows she was pregnant. Maybe, you know, to one of your points is he could put 2 and 2 together and say, you know what, she's a Stark of the North. Ned has a bastard. You know, many times people make comments on, you know, Ned Stark isn't like that, or that's not the Ned Stark way. I know Oberyn makes a comment on it. Who's another one recently? I think it was like, Stannis, I think, made a comment in the show, at least when he meets John.
Yeah.
I'm right there in my rewatch,
Gotcha.
and he's like the honorable Ned, like wouldn't do that, like with a baby, or I don't know if somebody else makes a comment, but regardless,
it's made a lot.
Many people can put the two together, and certainly Varys, I think would know, enough hopefully about.
Right. But yeah, that's
Ned.
yeah. And here, I got one more question for you, like because this just popped in my head, and I'm thinking about this as you're talking. So the whole bit with Aegon being taken, young Griff, and all of that, it's like, is he supporting, like, if he does know, maybe about Jon Snow, he's put it together almost, we've talked before about maybe there's a bunch of different conspirators, people who are helping protect Jon Snow, and maybe that's all arranged by a different group of people, and then Varys has Illyrio and others, John Connington, to take care of, like Aegon Targaryen. It's almost like it's a contingency plan or something.
Right.
I don't know.
Right.
Yeah, he seems like the type of person to have more than one, like a backup plan.
Yeah.
Okay. I think he talks about, what did he want to do? He wanted Varys to rule, right? Come back as the king, and they're saying that their plans got pushed forward and they weren't ready.
Mm-hmm.
Their timeline that they're trying to do. Which I think in the show actually would be pretty cool is, so again, I'm, season 4, season 5 in the rewatch, Tyrion is in Illyrio's palace, and Illyrio's not there, with Tyrion and Varys. So, I'm thinking, like, what if Illyrio, cause he's supposed to, like, be in with the Golden Company, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm thinking in the TV, what if Illyrio is like in charge of the Golden Company and comes down for, like, quote, Cersei? Okay. But really it's just a plan to kill all of Cersei's people and help win, like, the Golden Company's on the Targaryen side. And I feel like that would be a cool show thing to do.
Yeah, absolutely.
To do that.
Yeah. Well, hey, we actually Maglum just hopped in here. Perfect. And had a thought on this. So let's see what let's get our warlock on here. If he's ready. We're talking about, does Lord Varys know who Jon's parents are?
First I want to toss it over to Shido Clan, because he raised his hand here. So I want to get him in here first.
Oh, good.
So Peter, you're live.
All right, awesome. I think he may have a suspicion, but is he really going to openly question the honorable Ned Stark? If Ned Stark's, hey, this is my baby.
Right.
We know Ned Stark's character, and it was questioned a lot throughout the series. And there's a lot of contextual, just like, of Ned being very protective over Jon's mother. I mean, which has it alludes to Jon's mother being Lyanna, based off of how he felt about Lyanna and how he was pretty protective over her. But I don't think Barry openly say, like, I think you're the son of Rhaegar and Lyanna, given the circumstances that Ned's claiming this baby as his. I think Varys may have an idea that they have the baby, but does not know about the will.
Okay. Yeah.
That's what I'm thinking. But when it comes to Lord Varys.
Gotcha. Yeah, like he knows, as you say, he knows about it, can put 2 and 2 together, like Lord Adam Parker's saying, but doesn't do anything with it, or is unsure, that they have a baby, but not really its whereabouts. Because, I mean, he's not all knowing. Varys, I mean, he knows quite a bit, but and may suspect a lot. But if they're in, I was thinking too, like his spy network, can only be in. I mean, he has a lot. He's got a huge net of resources and things. But like, and it seems like the Tower of Joy is a place that might be pretty secluded, pretty secret, limited. People who come and go through that area and stuff. So I don't know.
And also one. People that may possibly know. One name that wasn't mentioned was Varys Selmy. He was on the trident with Rhaegar. And he was with Rhaegar at the time. Because remember, the attorney of Harrenhal, and then a year later, they decided to meet up, meaning Rhaegar and Lyanna. And then from there, that's where the alleged kidnapping happened.
Yeah.
You know, Arthur Dane was there. A couple of his closest, you know, guardsmen were there, but Barristan Selmy was also there. And Barristan Selmy, you know, just to kind of give you hindsight, he talks about Rhaegar a little bit more, gives us an idea of who Rhaegar was. Like Rhaegar was the type to frequent brothels or anything. So I was like, would this guy go ahead and kidnap a woman, or did they secretly run away and have a Romeo and Juliet? I'm sorry, Romeo and Juliet type of romance.
Right.
Which, you know, I think that's what happened.
Yeah.
But you know, if there's anybody else who can probably in the books attest to Jon Snow's parentage, it would most likely be Howland Reed, who's alive, or Barristan Selmy. But yeah, I think Barristan did know about Lyanna because he said I believe it was in A Dance of Dragons, Rhaegar loved his lady Lyanna, and many died for it. So
well, and I was go ahead, Sir Peter. Yeah.
No, that was pretty much it.
Yeah. Well, I'm thinking too. You know, we've talked about Barristan Selmy being with him on the Trident right at the end. You imagine there's a maybe conversation or discussion. If you think this might be your last battle or something's going on, you might tell one of your closest, trusted, knights.
Well, yeah, but I mean, you know, Arthur Dane knows, has to know. So, you know, so it's not, it wouldn't be out of the realm of possibility for maybe somebody like Barristan, you know, another Kingsguard member to know.
Yeah, and that's what they're marching in the Trident too, like any type of contingency plan that he might lay or give to Sir Barristan. Right. I mean, you know, he's so yeah, he also had the Prince of Dorne there and things too. So yeah,
what's his name? The other Kingsguard. I mean, half of the Kingsguard knows. Because you have at least if the other half doesn't, you know, because you have Hightower and oh god, what's the other guy's name? Oswald Went.
Went. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Pretty neat. Okay.
So
let's get
Maglum on here. Yeah.
Maglum. Yeah.
So mute. All right, you are live, Maglum. So.
Yeah.
Hi. Can everyone hear me? All right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sound great.
Splendid. Thanks. So. My thoughts on this whole thing is, I have to say, I think Varys probably knows because people don't seem to be able to keep secrets from Varys. Like, do I think Rhaegar might have been able to keep the secret? Maybe, because Rhaegar was smart and sneaky. If they were in King's Landing at all, Lyanna probably not, because she's a 14 at this time, I think? 14 or 15.
Yeah.
She's not experienced. Like, Tyrion couldn't keep a secret more than a few hours. I don't think they would be able to keep their relationship secret. What I think they might have been able to keep secret, though, was the marriage. Because I don't know, assuming it happened, because it could be a showism, that they got married on the Isle of Faces. And if Varys knows that they had a child, and if he knows it's Jon, but he doesn't know if he's a legitimate child in wedlock, he might just say, oh, he's a bastard. So he's potentially useful, but we can't prove legitimacy.
Sure.
So he can't play into the plans as well. So my wonder is like whether or not he'd actually be able to do something with it, whether he's got like some bigger plan for what he could do with Jon potentially, or if he's just kind of saying, we'll let him not know. It complicates things less because we've already got 2 Targaryens possibly, assuming young Griff in the mix here.
Right. Yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah, because if that's a super secret, like an annulment and a marriage, if that is a showism, I can see how he would say, well, we have a legitimate child that we could say we smuggled away. There's honorable men who could maybe, validate, that he was smuggled out and what have you. So, yeah, that's a good point. Okay, awesome. Yeah, let me see here. So, let's see. Does Lord Varys know his Matt? Sir Matt? Any other thoughts on? I guess just Lord Varys there.
No, that's it. All right, yeah. I'm ready to.
I think we've exhausted that one. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Let's go to. Oh, we got a couple left here. So what are we on next? Will Jon ride a dragon? This is from Sir Douglas of the Burning River here.
Yeah.
So, my lords, since my last Raven, I started reading while listening to the books, and currently I'm about 3/4 of the way through A Clash of Kings. I am sure this has been discussed before, but I am across a passage that caught my attention in one of the early John chapters of A Clash of Kings. Since I am listening to the audiobooks, I don't know the exact quote or chapter, but it's happened when Jon was with Commander Mormont after Jon's attempted desertion. I am paraphrasing, but Commander Mormont says along the lines, did your horse have wings? Jon responds with no. That's a shame. We could have used something like that. I feel this is foreshadowing, but Jon will ride one of the dragons over a wall, and in Fire and Blood, there was a story of the queen who couldn't, Queen Alicent, right? We talked about that. But since Jon is of ice and fire, he'll be able to take one of the dragons over the wall. Let me know your thoughts. Sir Douglas of the Burning River. Wow, is he from Cleveland or? Bannerman has a name. He commented here. Jon rides a dragon. No, I do not see this being the case. If the three heads of the dragon does come to pass, it will be Dany and her fellow children of the Mad King. He's saying, "Oh, Jaime and Cersei."
And Cersei, yeah.
With the three, that thing here. We have Magnum and Lord Adam Parker have commented here, so we'll certainly give them a chance. Oh, we have somebody else in here too.
Yeah, who all do we have? And a couple of people have jumped in. I know Lady Liz has been just commenting in text, and Lady Liz,
I want to
give, ready to talk. Let us know.
I want to give Lady Jo Seagram here a chance to go. Just because I haven't heard from her in a bit. So I'm gonna give her. You're live, so give you a chance to kind of talk about this.
Yeah.
My thoughts on will Jon ride a dragon? That is very likely in the show, since they are trying to make it seem as though Jon is a Targaryen, and that's kind of one of the things that the Targaryens are known for doing.
Yeah.
It's mostly a toss-up between whether, in my opinion, whether he's going to get a chance to ride Rhaegal, or going to maybe snatch Viserion back from the night.
Okay. Yeah, interesting. Huh. I like
since I believe Tyrion was actually able to pet Rhaegal, if I remember correctly, during their time on Dragonstone.
Okay. Yeah.
Was he in the show? Did Tyrion pet
a
dragon?
I think so. It's been a while since I've watched the last couple of seasons, so I don't remember.
That's where
there was an interaction between.
He unchains in God, where are there where he unchains them?
Marine.
Yeah. It's in Marine.
Yeah.
In Marine, he kind of unchains them and talks to them. I know that.
Gotcha. Yeah. Okay. Awesome. Yeah, and that may be. Yeah, he's approaching him. That says something in of itself that he can get that close and be able to not get, because what's his name, Quentin, right? Shows up and tries to prove himself with the dragons and gets toasted.
Right.
So
yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
All
awesome. Right. Okay. I want to give Magnum. I know he just joined us here. I want to give him another shot. This is because he made a cool.
He got some comments here. Yeah.
Yeah. So you're live.
Oh, hi again.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was saying, do I think Jon could end up riding a dragon? Quite likely. I really wouldn't be surprised with it. It would be a fairly natural part of the whole arc. I think they're sort of going for Jon, making him the big main hero and everything. But do I think he could control it would be another matter. Because Daenerys had trouble controlling Drogon at all, like when she books it out of Marine on him. And she'd raised Drogon. She'd known him since he was an absolute baby. Jon has never met the dragons much at all.
Yeah.
In comparison. So him being able to ride one, possibly, but him being able to control it and make it go somewhere it had never gone before, when Alysanne couldn't make Silverwing, was that her dragon? Silverwing?
Yes. I think you're right.
Yeah.
Go north of the wall, yeah.
Yeah, she couldn't make Silverwing do it, and she was, height of Targaryen dragon riders. She couldn't make it do what she wanted. I doubt he could when he's never had any experience with it before.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's how long does it take to how to train your dragon, right?
Exactly.
I never thought about that actually. That's interesting. Okay. All right.
Yeah, because you don't just hop on and they do whatever you want.
Right. And doesn't Dany speak to her dragons in High Valyrian and stuff to kind of command them to, I don't know, shoot fire and different things.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
there's
Dracarys.
yeah. Okay, yeah, that's a good point. That's a really good point. I didn't think about that. And she's the mother of dragons, right? Yeah, as you say, she, air quote, birthed these dragons. So, yeah, okay. Let's see what we got. Lord Adam Parker, I think, has a comment too. We can hop him back on here real quick.
Absolutely. And then I want to give Sir David the Huntsman a chance to talk about this one. So Lord Adam Parker is live. So yeah, you list some comments on this one.
Yes, I'm actually reading the part in the book now of the three heads of the dragon. So it says, the shapes of shadows, tomorrow is not yet made. Drink from the cup of ice, drink from the cup of fire. Mother of dragons, child of three. Three? She did not understand. 3 heads has the dragon. The ghost chorus yammered inside her skull, with never a lip moving, never a breath stirring. The still blue air, mother of dragons, child of storm. The whispers became a swirling song. 3 fires you must light, 1 for life, 1 for death, and 1 for love. 1 to love. So that's where we first see the 3 heads of the dragon. So interpreting this, and I've highlighted this a million times and went over it back and forth to try to predict what Danny was going to do. So I don't think in the book, at least, that anyone else has to ride the dragons. I think we get 3 heads of the dragon, and then over the last 10 years since this book was written, I think it's been blown out of proportions of, oh, that must mean there's 3 dragon rides. Because Aegon and they had 3 dragons, 3 dragon riders. So I just don't see it that anyone else needs to ride the dragon, especially Jon. He doesn't need to ride it. There's been a couple good points brought up that in the show, maybe he'll ride a dragon. It would actually kind of make a little bit of sense, especially because they're leading him to be a Targaryen, and Targaryens have dragons type of thing. But as far as the books go, I mean, I don't see it at all that anyone else would ride a dragon other than her.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I think that does. I mean, that goes back to Maglam's point, just that, if she has as much trouble as she does being the blood of the dragon and things, I don't know, with controlling her dragons and stuff, it would be hard to see someone else, maybe bonding with them or being allowed to get close to them. But we don't get, even in Fire and Blood, get a whole lot on how long it took to, learn how to ride a dragon, command a dragon, and things like that. It's kind of a mystery. So.
Right.
With TV show magic, you could speed that up. You could say, "Oh, yeah, Jon just learned because he's skilled at everything." But I don't see it happening.
Well, we know that we know that from World of Ice and Fire and some of I think Sons of the Dragon, right? Or it was the Rogue Prince, right? Where they're during the Dance of Dragons, where they're trying to get more people, dragon riders, right? And they just because some of these people probably have Valyrian blood, and they talk about how difficult it was. So yeah, even for Targaryens, they don't just open up to them.
If Dany dies in the show, maybe Jon will hop on Drogon and ride off into the sunset with their baby. I don't know.
Yeah. Cool. All right, I want to give Sir David the Huntsman a shot on this one. I haven't heard from him in a bit. So, Sir David, you're live.
Well, I want to start by saying pretty smart cookie. I like what he was bringing up there.
Yeah.
I still think in the show, he will. In the book, I think it's less likely to happen. But there again, as much as some of the over stuff will translate between book and show, that tends to happen when you have adaptations in movies. But yeah, I mean, very, very simply put, will he ride a dragon in the show? Definitely. Will he ride it in the book?
Yeah. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I mean, yeah. And I like what Lord Adam Parker said, which is the magic of the TV show, right? How you can sort of accelerate things along a little bit. And he did mention that Jon was able to pet, a dragon, right? Actually was able to touch him without, I mean, Danny's there, but still, that connection was seen by us last season. So.
All right here. Okay, let's go move to one of our next things here. We have two left here, so I'll let you read this one, Sir Ezra.
Yeah, we have 2 left, and this one is really, I pulled this from the Facebook page. And I know Lord Adam Parker has a lot of thoughts on this. He's been doing a lot of work on it, so I want to give him a chance here to talk about it. And Maglum's had some comments back and forth with A Bannerman Has No Name. It was one of the Facebook threads that I found really interesting. And then we'll finish with Maglum's thoughts on Lightbringer. Mm-hmm. But yeah, the question here is, any thoughts on who buried the dragon glass at the Fist of the First Men and why? Why is it buried and located in this spot? Was this a place where they were making a stand back in the day? Even the name, the Fist of First Men, is interesting, and so there was a big discussion about it when they come across it in the book. What is its significance? Right now, in the show, we've got Sam, learning about Dragonglass, and they're going to Dragonstone, and basically, what are they doing, Sir Matt? Mining it? I mean, they find a large stash of it, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So yeah, let's see what Lord Adam Parker has to say here, because there's a lot of good comments that he has, and I don't want to steal any of his thunder here on this. So
all right, there you go. Go right ahead.
First off, actually, in the rewatch we just got to with Stannis, meeting up with those guys, and he sees the obsidian dagger. I forget who's showing it to him. It could be Sam. And he goes, Stannis, we have plenty of this on Dragonstone.
Oh, does he? Okay.
Oh, yeah. No, cool. He blatantly says it right out. And my wife kind of shot me a look like, she picked it out. And was like, oh, he knows it's there.
That's cool. Yeah.
But awesome. Anyway, so back to who buried. I believe Benjen Stark was digging in the crypts when he came back to Winterfell, and in a little while I'll have a huge raven for you guys of what's in the crypts of Winterfell. It's pretty interesting. Sure. I've been putting together some good stuff. But good. I think Benjen Stark was digging in the crypts when he came back to Winterfell for the celebration during King Bobby B's trip up north.
Yeah.
It would have been very easy for Benjen to go unnoticed and slip away down into the crypts with all the excitement of the king and queen's visit. And Benjen used this opportunity to retrieve the horn, and then left a few days later with Jon, Tyrion, and a couple others, returning back to the Wall.
Right.
And then almost immediately after their arrival at the Wall, Benjen went out on a ranging from which he never returned. Yeah. Jon wanted to go with him, but Ben told him not a chance. I think Benjen either definitely knew he was not coming back, or he knew there is a very good chance that he was not returning. And then I further believe that it was this ranging mission that Benjen buried the horn of Jormon. He wrapped it in his Night's Watch cloak along with some of the Dragonglass weapons. Because later on, Qhorin Halfhand returns from ranging and says to Mormont that Mance and the Free Folk have been digging holes in the snow all up in the mountain, searching for something. But what was that something? The Halfhand didn't know what it was. The Halfhand demanded Jon actually join him and his crew as they're looking for Mance to see if they could figure out what they were searching for.
Yeah.
And in the books, so in the show, Sam stumbles upon it right before he uses it. In the books, it was actually Ghost who found the bundle of Dragonglass and the horn wrapped in the Night's Watch cloak. And when he and Jon were north of the Wall, when they were at the Fist of the First Men, Ghost, being connected to the old gods, definitely sniffed it out in the middle of the night. And Jon was like, "Hey, come back," and just followed him.
Right. Yeah.
Also in the books, the bundle had only been buried for a couple of weeks or so, as Jon noted that the cloak had not yet begun to decompose. So it was recently buried. So it's not something that was buried, 1,000 years ago or 5,000 years ago. Or else, unless it's just super cold and the coke was preserved, but it probably would have been damaged. And he made a comment that it looked fresh. And then he brings the bundle back to Castle Black, cleans it up, hands out the arrowheads to a few friends. He gives the horn to Sam, and he makes a knife for the Lord Commander with the dragon glass blade. And then later it's revealed that at some point Jon gives the broken horn a little toot, but no sound came out. And the horn of Jormungand was cracked.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then then Sam,
Okay.
it was a cracked, it was an old cracked horn, I guess, when Jon gave Sam the dragon glass cachet, and one with the bronze on it, which was the metal they used at the time of the Long Night ended.
Wow.
Yeah. And then Mance didn't find the horn. That's what they're searching for.
Uh-huh.
And then something led him to check the crypts of Winterfell. But by then the horn was long gone, having passed, from Benjen to Jon to Sam the Slayer. So that's why I was gonna say just Mance disguised himself as Abel with the goal of digging in the crypts of Winterfell.
Okay. I got a question here. So as you were, discussing there, would going off this line of thought here, when Benjen goes on this ranging, and if it's buried, did he notice, I guess, why would, I'm just thinking out loud here on the spot, why would he not turn it over to the Night's Watch? Was he trying to protect maybe the free folk, the wildlings beyond the wall, or why bury it there? Or did he just have it and he went on his ranging, noticed that the others in the whites are really a big deal, and he's getting more information, and he's like, well, maybe he's under attack and he has to stash it somewhere quickly and move on? I'm just kind of, any speculation on that?
Yeah, I was thinking that a couple of things. Either maybe the three-eyed raven led him, took over his body as Bran, because we know Bran can do that. He does it as he's not even trained at all. He can do it with Hodor. So definitely Bran is going to be able to fully get into a normal, not a simple-minded, but a normal-minded human. And so either the three-eyed raven did that and kind of controlled Benjen to do this, or Benjen just kind of had a feeling that maybe he could have told Half-Hand something, but a ghost smelled
there you go,
Benjen's odor,
and with the cloak,
he's here. Why he did it, I'm not sure, and I think hopefully we'll figure that out. But wow. And then I guess if Cold Hands is Benjen, which I go back and forth, I'm thinking he is or not. If Cold Hands is Benjen, then we might figure it out. Or Cold Hands, I think, is Duncan, Sir Duncan the Tall.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And then maybe they work together. Maybe they knew something. Benjen probably raided a few times. Maybe he did run into the Three-Eyed Raven or Children of the Forest or Cold Hands, or maybe he had those conversations, or maybe he's just very knowledgeable in a lot of this stuff. So he had his reasons. I think we'll figure out what the reasons are, but we just know what the actions were.
Yeah, gotcha. And it is interesting that it's some folks on the thread were talking about it being, maybe First Men, super old, but then as you say, it's either preserved really well, and it's in a crow's garment, and it's in a black cloak, so that's something I hadn't really thought about. That's interesting.
It was in a newer black cloak. It wasn't even someone didn't die there. Someone purposely buried it, and it seemed like it was a recent burial.
Yeah, gotcha. Oh gosh, Maglum just wanted to remind everybody that I at one point called it the fisting of the First Men. So that's just
that was me. That was me.
Was that you?
Yeah, that was me.
One of us did.
Yeah.
I don't think any
my
of us had
Lord.
forgotten that.
Yeah.
Okay, good. All right, good.
Yeah.
Oh Lord.
Yeah,
Those
I tried to add in
The
some,
North
I tried to
Woods.
add in some flavor to the show every now and then. Lady Jade messaged me
Yeah.
because the other day I was talking about we were talking about like, oh, we're trying to get everything set up for the show coming out, building the foundation of the show. You gotta have the foundation set. And I said before you can worry about the carpet matching the drapes, and she said she like literally spat coffee out of her nose or something like that. So
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Oh, awesome. Okay. Well, let's see if we can get Sir Peter. Maybe we haven't heard from him just a little bit, and then we'll go to as we transition to Magnum's, Raven. We can have him get his thoughts too.
I got Sir Peter here if you're ready.
Yeah.
Sure. We moved on from the dragon.
Well, let's your thoughts on maybe just this. Any thoughts on the dragon glass at the Fist of the First Men there? Any thoughts on who? The question was, who buried it there, and maybe why? As Lord Adam Parker was talking about, just that ghost had stumbled across it. It's this stash of dragon glass that's there. Is it super ancient, or is it more recent, or any thoughts?
Could be either the others, because that may be what could defeat their army. They may have stumbled on it. Could have been a battle years ago. They might have hidden it, or be the other group of people I can think of would be the children of the forest.
Right.
Okay. Yeah.
Right. Just to preserve it. It could be they might have hidden it to preserve it out of plain sight. Just in case, for years to come, if a battle were to ensue and they would need to provide the weapons, or perhaps show where the weapons are that would be able to defeat the army of the dead.
Okay, awesome. Well, Sir Matt, should we?
Yeah.
Hop into the next one here.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, let's do that.
Okay.
All right here. So, hey, this is the last one, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so. Unless we'll get some final thoughts.
Yeah. A thought on forging Lightbringer. This is from Magnum, so we'll toss it to him. A thought on forging Lightbringer. According to Salador Sand, when Lightbringer was forged, Azor Ahai said to Nissa, "Nissa, bare your breast and know that I love you best of all in this world." I think this line is crucial. People often assume that for Lightbringer to be forged, that a person would have to kill their loved one, but that may not be the case. They have to destroy, which means that which they love most of all, or at least that is my interpretation. So, for example, Cersei or Catelyn would have to kill their children. Stannis would have to destroy his sense of order. Daenerys may have to kill her dragons. Balon would have to kill himself. This is just an example. Yeah. I take this as a point in favor of the Night's Watch being Lightbringer. After all, what does Maester Aemon say? They take their vows so they will not love, for love is the death or of duty. The men of the Night's Watch have already destroyed that which they love in one way or another. So, yeah, let's toss it over to Magnum here to kind of get this one going. All right, go ahead.
Hi again.
Hey.
Yeah.
So, just like I was outlining there, it's to do with an emotional connection. The willingness to sacrifice in the name of the greater good, I think, is ultimately what it's meant to be. And that's why Salador Sands basically immediately after that, they never talk about how much it would suck to be a hero in these old stories. I think he's got a very wise life philosophy, honestly. Just eat some nice grapes, have a good time. It's good. But so the Night's Watch could be based on that, because that's the whole thing. They give up everything in the sake of fighting the darkness. There's also all those other little clues, like the sword in the darkness, part of their vows.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. I might be coming around on the theory more. It's an interesting sort of thing. Yeah,
that is. I like that. I think Lord Adam Parker was also kind of totally agreeing with you that the Night's Watch, being Lightbringer is really cool. To think that it's not necessarily a person that you would have to kill, but this whatever it is that you love. What is it that you hold most dear?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I like that. Let's see if we can get just a couple other. Let's get Lord Adam Parker back on here, just because he totally agrees. And I think, that's because Lightbringer is kind of a mystery.
Hi. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I 100% think that the Night's Watch is Lightbringer. I've mentioned this before in another Raven that I think it's like the new gift, which is the tree line. I think they cut down a lot of the trees, and I think the wall is actually built with wood and ice.
Oh yeah, I remember you talking about this. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think what's going to happen ultimately is someone is going to be the Azor Ahai person, be whoever it is going to be leading. It could even be like one of the dragons is going to be leading, or some charge or whatever. And then I think they're going to light up the wall on fire, and then that is Lightbringer, like the physical wall, the Night's Watch. Because they say they're the sword in the darkness. What other sword is in the darkness besides a flaming sword? A red sword or whatever. And actually, it's kind of funny reading through the Daenerys Three Heads of the Dragon vision. She sees a king with blue eyes holding up a red sword that casts no shadow. And a lot of people were like, "Oh, that's Stannis," but I think it's the Night King, maybe. Because also I like this theory that the Night King is actually Azor Ahai, like the original one, and somehow he'll be, he's got like the Lightbringer, like the sword that's on fire type of thing, and then but like Lightbringer is more theoretical. It's not a real sword. It's just like a theoretical one.
Sure. Yeah. Okay. Awesome. Yeah, I totally agree with that. I think that's a really good point. More of the as Magum says, like a metaphor. Yeah. So that's pretty neat. Lightbringer's always been. I love Maester Aemon's thoughts when he talks to Sam about the sword and how it's an empty glamour. There's no heat, that kind of thing. And so it's all been hinted at that it's could be more than just a sword. It could be something else, and that the prophecy is misread, all that type of thing. So really looking outside the box for more of the metaphor with the Night's Watch is a great idea. Yeah. So,
all right, I want to kind of toss it to some other people here. Just kind of the idea, the forging of Lightbringer. So I'm thinking maybe I'm gonna go Sir Green again if she's ready. Boom, you're on here.
Yeah, Lady Joe. Yeah,
Lady Joe.
Thoughts on Lightbringer? I am not sure, because that's like you have so many different swords running around in the first place. It's like hard to pinpoint which one could be Lightbringer, if any of them actually are.
Yeah. Right. Or can I ask you a question? Is Lightbringer something that does it have to be a particular sword, or is it a sword that could be forged and made?
Right. It's based upon like it's a power that you
get. Because some people believe it could be just like maybe there is a sword. Like see how Magums was mentioning Lion's Tooth. but
the one that got thrown in the river back in the first book.
Yeah,
right. Forged in water.
But yeah, right. That's hilarious. So I don't know. I mean, or is it just like you have to go through that ritual, and is it that I like the idea that the Night's Watch kind of goes through this oath and the ritual, and it's more of a metaphor, but yeah. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. I just wanted to throw that.
Nah, you're good. I could definitely get behind the idea that something like the Night's Watch, something that's there to defend in the first place, is actually Lightbringer. And like it's a metaphorical sword instead of a literal sword.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Interesting. It says, I'm just pulling up on the wiki here. It says that it was also known as the Red Sword of Heroes. And it's such an old, it goes with Azor Ahai and prophecy. Yeah, it's like what was lost in the telling and things, and that seems, Girl likes that. He loves that things over time, the legends, get kind of they grow in the telling. Yeah. So I think that's pretty. Yeah, that's pretty interesting.
I think I'm more in the line that it's a person, right? And like that. I'm more in the line that Rhaegar, I think, is Azor Ahai. Jon Snow is Lightbringer. I don't think it really matters. I don't think, That's just kind of where I'm at. Adam Parker,
Yeah.
Night's Watch is 100% Lightbringer. Yeah.
Well,
And it's hard to say. Gurr has whatever he has planned, and he's going to throw it at us when he's ready to, and probably throw every one of us for a loop.
Yeah, absolutely. If you go on, anyone who's interested can go on the Song of Ice and Fire wiki page, and you've got different theories in here, like Davos Seaworth, right? Literally, just people talking about him possibly being, as Sir Matt was saying, if it's a person, more than it is an actual object, or it's a group of people, like the Night's Watch. You've got that listed here: Dragonhorn, dragons, Dawn, the ancestral greatsword of House Dane. Blackfire, the sword wielded by Aegon the First. So there's a lot of cool different theories here, but Lion's Tooth is definitely at the top for me right now. That's so funny. So okay, all right, cool.
Yeah, with Lion's Tooth, that was funny because it's like, I'm not sure which one was funnier. Joffrey being losing his sword to a girl in the first place, or Robert's being pissed like, you lost your sword to a girl.
Yeah. That whole scene was hilarious. Yeah, then Magnum says, she's doomed us all. She's doomed us all if she tossed the sword that would, be Lightbringer into the river.
All right. I want to grab somebody else here. Sir David the Huntsman here, because I think this is our last one here. So we'll kind of we'll get a little bit of everybody here. So
yeah.
Sir David, you're live.
Oh, wow. You came back to me one that I have like zero opinion on.
Oh,
well. I would say hard pass.
Yeah.
I never really looked into. I didn't really have a whole lot of interest in. I don't know. I just had more interest in other stuff. So
that's okay.
Sorry, boys, let you down.
That's okay. Sir David the Huntsman, his house words are "lets us down." That's okay. As I mute him, that's okay. All right, here. Funny, so let's go. Let's Sir Peter here on this one, and kind of the forging of Lightbringer here. So you're live.
I'm gonna have to agree with Lord Adam Parker about the Night's Watch.
Right.
I mean, I know in the past there's a lot of speculation of. Let's say, when people were speculating Jon Azor High, he's going to plunge the sword into the heart of Daenerys, and then from there, bring out Lightbringer. I think the sacrifice is going to have to be the sacrificing Night's Watch. That may be the sacrifice in order to form Lightbringer. I mean, it may not be a literal, like, oh, you have to kill somebody, but it could be in a way of you have to love in order to kind of proceed forward.
Yeah, and some folks have been saying on just the form of Ice and Fire that, like, air quote, the wielder of Lightbringer might simply be just that the person who commands the Night's Watch. It could be that they're wielding this whole force that would stand against the others. And I'm looking again back at their vows, and it's like, I am the sword in the darkness, the watcher on the walls. I am the fire that burns against the cold, the light that brings the dawn. So interesting, thoughts there. And some of the prophecies, when you look on the Reddit threads and A Form of Ice and Fire, talk a lot about just that Quaithe and the Ghost of High Heart, that their prophecies are more symbolic, very heavy in symbolism. So this could be one that is as well. So, yeah, awesome. Okay, all right. Well, Sir Matt, I think we've circled through most everybody there.
Yeah, I think we've had talked to just about everybody. Today,
I know some of you weren't able to talk just because you're just listening and either at work or what have you, or doing different things, and that's totally cool. We're glad that you were able to listen here with us and make some comments. Just in the in the feed. It's helpful, and it makes it fun. It got people going back and forth, and just some funny stuff there. So
yeah, and as always, thank you guys so much for joining us. We really appreciate it. It's always fun to get to talk to everybody, get to talk about theories. I mean, Sir Ezra and I can ramble on forever. I know I can. So it's great. Actually, I got to sit back, listen, kind of think hear what everyone's saying, what everyone wants to talk about, and go from there. It's great. Yeah.
It is really neat because, again, Sir Matt and I often talk about where we're coming in our reading. I'm doing the read through of A Feast of Dragons. And so my mind is often, in Feast of Crows and Dance of Dragons. And Sir Matt is often in the histories and has been reading the Hedge Knight series religiously day after day.
Pretty much. I've read it like 5 times at this point, but right now I'm actually kind of focusing on my rewatch, gearing up for season 8.
Yeah. So it's neat just to have different folks who have come in, where you're at in your research or what you're tracking down. It's a very unique thing. I don't think a lot of other podcasting groups are out there doing that. So that's why it's so cool and it's so valuable to have you guys and your opinions here on the show. It just means the world to us. So, all right, guys.
Well, yeah. Hey, thanks for listening. Let's see here. Serz and I, there may be a new trailer tonight, so stay tuned for that. If that comes, so that may be posted before this gets posted. If there's another one, or I just haven't figured that out entirely. But thank you all of our patrons for joining us. We really, really appreciate it, and really, really appreciate your support. And look forward to doing this. So we'll see you guys next month. So. All right. Well, in the words of House HBO, a trailer is coming at some point. Don't know when, but we'll leave it there. Thanks.